so like...
El Pollo Romano.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
All right.
So we've got, you know, 5% on Lucina and mounting. Seagull making good use of Sonic's ground speed to just not give Lucina a break. Even though it is like paper cuts at the moment, he is able to use his speed really well to maybe call out Lucina's overextensions. Ooh, that was really weird actually. So
yeah.
he spin dashed and he stopped like right in front of Lucina, which is like the easiest place to punish because she could have done anything. But I think because it was so unexpected, Dexter was maybe looking for something else.
Possibly.
But yeah, it looks like Seagull's like baiting right now. Like he's drifting just outside of Lucina's range and making her overextend in ways that are not super comfortable, and then punishing those.
Yep. He's been catching the landings like super perfectly.
I mean, no, this has been a very well-played game. Absolutely. Missing that back air, Dexter is able to sneak around the spring ride. Or, that wasn't the spring ride, no, that was just the upper follow-up.
Good spot dodge too.
And this is going to go on forever. This is a loop. Dexter delaying nicely, able to get around it. Using the spring to get just out of there, but actually Dexter like not chasing immediately, waiting for him to see sort of how he's going to come down before trying to punish. He's made some good adjustments that weren't really there in the first half of this game that are enabling him to sort of stay more well, I say that, more competitive, but you know, that back air is going to trade and unfortunately take his first stock. Still, with the knowledge that he's gained, you'll see he's playing more grounded. He's not really trying to hit Seagull in those awkward, like, just outside of his range situations.
Yeah, and on... Ooh!
That trade!
Wow.
That was really well timed.
Indeed.
It's really hard to call out spin dash with, like, just strong single hits. Because usually it just powers through them, but there, I guess, you know, it was outside of the... I'm not super clear on the specifics of the move, but I believe it has, like, a period of vulnerability, like, right after you let it go. Or not right after you let it go, but, like... There's a period after you let it go where it is vulnerable to things like that.
So actually, one thing that good air dodge, wait. So one thing that I had been noticing in the first part of this game is that Seagull hadn't actually been hit very often for neutral losses. He'd been winning neutral pretty solidly, it's just that he gets hit in the air. And so when he doesn't choose to extend himself and get into the air, he typically is able to just keep this game completely in his control. Able to catch Dexter's landings pretty easily after making those neutral wins.
That's certainly a point. I mean, we see Dexter using Lucina's very broad aerial hitboxes in order to... Well, I mean, we almost saw it there, if not for the spring, in order to punish Sonic after he's sort of used that escape option, the spring.
Good spin to back air, but that's not going to take it, not yet.
SDI coming in.
Oh, or will it?
Well, how about that? That was like a hair misspaced.
Yep.
Like just a few pixels closer, it would have magnet enhanced.
Yeah, very, very smart coverage from Seagull.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yeah, what we're seeing here is a classic dynamic. We have Lucina with more air superiority, Sonic with the ground superiority, and the game is sort of determined by who plays which area better, who is able to get themselves in their stronger situations better. But just as I start talking about how perhaps we'll see this matchup evolve, we have Seagull switching to Diddy Kong. I think this is a fine choice. I don't think Diddy Kong does any worse than Sonic against Lucina, possibly does better.
Oh my god.
As
Seagull laughing it off.
Well, see, no, that's an integral part of playing the matchup, in fact. Diddy Kong, it's in the rules that Diddy Kong has to kill himself before fighting.
Oh, I see, I did not know that.
Yeah, it's an edge case, but, you know, I'm sure Dexter's happy about it.
It was actually a really goofy sort of thing, like, okay, he does the down throw and then goes for the monkey flip kick, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting, I've never seen this before, and then he just sort of falls to his death.
I mean, it was interesting until you saw that it was probably a misinput, judging by the SD.
Yep. Well, in either case, now we have, once again, this is Seagull's sort of area. He is dominating in the neutral.
And Diddy Kong able to lock you into neutral like nobody's business, especially with all the pressure that he's able to put on you with that banana trap, and all of his normals being, or not all of his normals, but many of his normals being pretty safe. Grounded, he's got down tilt, which is super safe. Jab in some situations even is safe. And in the air, back air, forward air, whatever you want. Whatever you want. Able to lock the opponent in neutral pretty well. And, you know, his escape options are not terribly lacking either. His recovery is pretty hard to intercept, meaning he doesn't struggle too much into disadvantage. He's also got Monkey Flip as a good mix-up whenever he's in disadvantage.
Yeah, good ideas sort of from them both. Dexter trying to go down and end the game pretty early with an edge guard, but after he misses that, sort of gets the regrab, and Seagull just charges up the down smash.
Double,
which is sufficient. All right, Dancing Blade. Seagull not expecting it all of these times. All right, solid stuff. And now this is Dexter's zone. If there's anything that I've seen from Dexter's play, it's that he's really solid on the ledge. Once you get back into neutral, though, then it can get a little bit more 50-50, but Dexter's pressure on the ledge is, I think, well, I guess one of the best in the region.
I mean, well, what he's able to do very well is, I mean, he doesn't overcommit at the ledge. He's able to keep his opponent at disadvantage super well. And with Diddy Kong, because Diddy Kong's not able to set up anything whenever he's trying to recover, it's a very, very good position to put him in. Because it means that, not only are you able to rack consistent percent, there's also no longer the risk of like Diddy Kong setting something up that is able to, you know, mess you up in any way. It's
All right.
sort of a risky neutral air. If you missed that forward smash would have come through.
Yeah, but that was also pretty smart of him.
Yeah, it's true. In a way.
It worked!
Wow. Okay. Admittedly, Seagull Joe SD is for the first stock. If you think about it, that was incredibly dominant from Seagull Joe.
No, that is absolutely true, like, considering all of it. But, of course, it's like, after that first stock is taken, it's like, all right, well, can you take it all the way back? And Seagull was doing a very good job of sort of bringing it back, but Dexter managed to sort of press it as advantage and utilize that SD pretty well. So I will give him credit for that, of course.
Yeah, I think the roll at ledge was like, you know, I'm panicked. Like sort of one of the panic options, and I think Dexter, like the reason he got that final kill is because he caught on to the fact that maybe Seagull was getting a little nervous. Not that he had any real reason to be, since he did so remarkably after dropping the first stock to an SD. But actually, Dexter looks like he knows something I don't know, because he's got 43% unanswered on Diddy Kong. Unanswered, as I say that, he gets 9%, but still, very good lead.
Yeah, now it looks like Dexter is able to stuff out all of Seagull's sort of attempted approaches now.
It certainly looks that way.
And again, back in his zone. Back in his zone.
Absolutely, like taking him all across the world, to the left, to the right, wherever he wants to take him. Like this is a well-traveled chimp. That was a lie. Chimps don't have tails.
Ooh, just barely, and then gets the punish and solidly ahead, showing that SD or no SD, he can do this. And that's the thing, if Dexter is winning neutral, on top of his, again, amazing ledge pressure, then he's winning the game pretty solidly. Because it's like, all right, where else are you going to contest him?
I mean, yeah, that's true, but as we mentioned before, like Seagull Joe, that's his zone, right?
Right.
The neutral is his zone. And like, so Dexter's like, the real conundrum here is like, Dexter has to get him in a disadvantageous position. And the only way to do that is to win neutral. And how do you win neutral against someone who plays neutral as conservatively and safely as Seagull Joe? Something that Dexter did really well in the first stock is his approaches were like, they were uncomfortable in tempo. And so Seagull Joe, like, we saw him sort of get like he was playing at a different pace than Dexter. Like Dexter was messing with Seagull's internal timing, and that enabled him to get, you know, some early percent and an early stock. he wasn't necessarily out-neutraling him so much as he was using his own control of the neutral against him. Because if Seagull's playing the neutral in a certain way, he's got a certain rate that he wants to play at. And if you know that rate and know how to disrupt that rate, then you're able to put yourself at a pretty sizable advantage.
Very smart from Dexter. So he started just throwing the banana away, recognizing, okay, you know what? There's not too much I'm going to do with it, except in situations like that, but it's just like, all right, I'm just going to throw it up into the air. And that's typically the best move to do with
That's
banana.
great because it takes it out of play, because Diddy Kong can't pull another banana if that one is active. And if it's behind you, now if he wants to control it again, he has to go through you. That monkey flip called out with the forward smash.
Oh.
Dexter going to take game 3. I think this is this winner's finals?
That's a fantastic question.
I mean,
have no idea.
it's clearly best of 5 because they're still sitting there, but, you know.
All right back to the Sonic. The Sonic had been working before.
Yeah, I mean, if it ain't broke.
Right. And Seagull going to one of his favorite stages, Lilat.
We'll see how this goes. So, as mentioned earlier, Dexter in this matchup has air superiority, which I'm sure would make Star Fox seem very proud.
All right. Solid stuff here from Seagull, already getting a quick 40%.
Trapping all of the landings in the world. Dexter just struggling to get back on stage.
Yep, and the thing is, honestly, I think it's riskier for Lucina to try and sort of mix up timings and try and hit Sonic where he expects him to come in versus Diddy. Because it's like Diddy still has, Diddy has no intangibility. It's just, limbs. Extending hurt boxes in order to do this. Diddy's sort of dancing around. Diddy has an item. The item has item priority. As a result, it can be destroyed by swings of a sword or caught. Sonic, on the other hand, does have intangibility in spin dash, and so mistiming that could equal a huge punish. And especially because Sonic also has the ground speed to make up for any sort of disadvantage.
Certainly seems to be the case. It looks like Dexter's trying to play more in Sonic's wheelhouse, like more grounded, and using his disjoint. That was a nice tech. He teched the spring on the bottom side of Lilat so that he can stay alive and still recover. But he's using his, Lucina's Falchion in order to, space Sonic out. So that way Sonic's not able to punish him if he does something that is not, doesn't quite meet the mark. There we saw Seagull actually mess with Dexter's spacing and was able to get a punish as a result of that. But so long as Dexter spaces well, even on the ground,
that's it.
Yeah, just barely. Even on the ground, Lucina can compete. Or at least that's the idea. Seagull, is a very dominant presence. That's sort of that feels like, as said, as long as he can keep you in neutral, he's happy.
Yeah, and Dexter is, as long as Dexter can keep you in disadvantage.
Yeah, that's sort of the cool dynamic between these two players. It's like, we see Dexter keep Seagull in disadvantage for so long, but then, like, the rest of the game, he's just struggling to find a single opening.
Yep.
Seagull's playing, like, so defensively, and Dexter is, like, able to just oppress Sonic in disadvantage. Or, I mean, more specifically, oppress Seagull in disadvantage.
Good read on the air dodge for the quick forward air. All right, he's able to land far away. No confirm off of that.
Looks like Seagull's getting kind of, I don't know, maybe he's feeling himself, like, throwing out forward smash like that. That get-up attack, like, eventually he will lose his stock. And the noise we just heard, that was Sonic looking at Sonic Force's review scores.
All right. Good stuff from Dexter anyways. He didn't really take too much damage there.
Yeah, and, Lucina not the most combo-heavy character, but I feel like 65% is still pretty comfortable, considering Sonic's already close to 20. This could go either way, and we have to remember, anything Dexter figures out in this game, even if he loses, it can be used in the next one.
Right.
So he's still pretty advantaged here unless
Good.
Seagull wants to go back to Diddy. All right, playing very safe. I think we see Seagull trying to call out shield because Dexter has been shielding a lot, like run up shield and that kind of thing, but just not quite spacing the grab correctly. And that is going to be an air dodge read. Yeah, you know, you saw it the moment it came out.
Yep.
He's going to air dodge. That's going to be an up air, and that's it.
Good stuff, Seagull.
Yeah, really smart presence of mind. It's those critical moments that I think really separate good players from great players, like knowing, okay, well, if I don't pull the trigger early on this, then I win. So clearly the only thing to do is to wait, right?
I wonder if that was a 50-50 actually. Because I know that Seagull has been talking to the other Sonics, has been talking to Manny, and found that there is a true up air 50-50 for Sonic.
Really?
And I'm not entirely sure what percents that works at. It seems like that might be a little bit late, because I know for Kirby specifically it works around 80-ish.
Yeah.
So maybe Lucina works around 100, 110. I have no idea.
I mean, is it is it like up air to up air, or what's the 50-50?
I think it's like up throw or like spring to, yeah, I think it's like up throw spring or something like that. I don't know.
So we're going to town. I don't know how this stage, or who this stage really favors. It feels more like a neutral pick, you know? Not really appealing to the strengths or weaknesses of either, but more so giving them a nice neutral place to sort of settle their differences.
Right.
I think maybe Sonic might have a slight advantage here because he's got a lot of space to work with, and the low ceiling means he can kill off the top with up air sooner. But, you know, the platforms, it's in some ways this stage is like FD plus, because for a lot of the time it is FD, meaning we're going to see Dexter controlling ground space whenever he can. Seagull's also
really
good at
upbeat.
doing that. So, yeah, I'm really not sure. The analysis committee is out on whether or not this stage it was a super fantastic counter pick, but with DSR in play, it's possible that it was the only one left.
Yeah, I didn't like that fair very much. I feel like somewhat aerials against Sonic, unless you have a good distance from him, are typically not going to get, especially while he's charging his spins.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, invincibility.
Ooh, that was a nice catch. He just runs up and grabs right whenever he knows he's going to land. Those trigonometry combos coming through from Sonic. And thus begins the war of attrition.
Ooh,
that is, well, I say that, and then Seagull gets another crispy air dodge read.
This is like a contract that Sonic signed, like after they have to kill off the top, they have to go and do another spring into down air.
I mean, of course. That's
I swear it's everyone.
They're building a meter, right? It's an invisible meter. Sonic has an invisible meter mechanic that fills up every time you do spring into up air.
Ooh!
In fact, the future of the Sonic meta is just spring into up air for like the first 5 minutes of the game into like an up air that kills at 0.
Yep, sounds about right. All right.
Air dodging through the back air. Seagull himself at a huge advantage here, taking that first stock and then just racking percent as Dexter overextends.
All right, manages to get that fair.
It's like, I just take a moment to appreciate Seagull's spacing is really on point here. Like his aerial drift, like he drifts in and then drifts out just enough so that Dexter can't actually punish him. And that's really nice because once Dexter's expended an aerial, he can just run in and smack him for it.
That was so good. He sees that Dexter has a counter out, and he just sort of reacts, stops the spin dash, and goes for jabs.
I mean, like, Sonic's pretty versatile. He can do that. Spin dash is super low commitment because like you have so many options during spin dash that like you're never like well, I mean, you are locked in, but you're never like super locked in to a spin dash, and that's what makes it such a powerful move in neutral. I'm barely gonna make it back, but almost an entire stock and then an entire, like, he's almost lapped in percent.
Right.
Dexter's not looking great.
It's looking pretty hopeless right now. I don't know. What would you do if you were Dexter in this situation?
I would, okay, so he's spin dashing a lot, right? What do I have that beats spin dash? Because counter doesn't beat it. Dancing Blade doesn't beat it. I guess you can trade with forward smash, but that takes immaculate timing.
Yeah.
It's like